Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to our Reliant build. As you can see, we have all the pieces for the roll bar out. We have the instructions here. Pretty easy. That's how they go together. Not too difficult. Just these go in here, these go in here, that goes there, that goes there, and that goes there. Pretty easy, right? If we're just building this as a non-lighted ship, very easy. So we got this piece here, which is the top. We have the photons, one here, the rear one here, and we have the top sides of the roll bar. As you can see, the roll bar is very, very thin plastic, specifically here. And we're going to have to channel some of this out. As you can see, again, this is not even the thickness of it. I guess this would be the thickness of it, right? It's about let's check. We got our handy-dandy calipers. 1.42 millimeters. So yeah, not a lot of room. Same thing on top, I'm guessing 1.42 or close to it. 1.86. That's a little better. So almost, when put together, almost over 2.5 millimeters, almost 3 millimeters put together. But we need to fit wires and at least 2 sets of wires. So what I'm thinking is we run one set, because we need blinkies. We need a blinky. There is a blinky somewhere up here. I gotta look for it. We need blinkies, and we got normal lights. And I haven't determined whether I'm gonna light the photons or not. I mean, it looks really cool when they're red. I want them, if I light them, I want them to be really, really subtle. Just like almost like a crimson glow in the background, you know. So maybe take like a red bulb and just put like a red bulb right about here on this side and on the other side. So just put 2 red bulbs just like this, so they can just cast light all around in here, and we get a little bit of a glow. Little bit of a subtle dark red glow outside of these guys. So we are going to have to cut these out. I was going to do that anyways just because they're not very relieved, as you can see, either of these guys. And as far as details go, these are okay. I'm going to have to look at the pictures of the studio model I have. I might be adding some homemade greeblies to these guys just because they lack some detail, or I don't know. I think that goes like this. Yeah, it does. They don't look too bad, you know. Got a little bit of detail, nothing too serious, but we can fix that. And of course, these go. And this one goes in the back here. Does it fit? Not very well. Ooh, it really doesn't fit very well. Is it upside down? Are you upside down? I don't think so. Maybe? Nope, it's not. It just doesn't fit very well. Wow. We'll fix that. I'll do a little sanding. Anyways, the first thing I'm going to do is just a little cleanup. We got some little bit of sprue up in here. I'm going to sand her down. I'm going to be figuring out where all the lights go. I think these are actually pretty close to where lights are. I think they're more center though than these little nubs. I also think we got, I can't remember if it's on the bottom or the top. We do have lights pointing down at the hull. They kind of help illuminate the hull. The studio model really doesn't illuminate too well, so I'm not going to worry about these being super bright. These might actually be fiber optics as long as they're kind of illuminated. As you can see, the light down here. And then we got the blinky up top. This goes up here, and I'm pretty sure that is a rear-mounted blinker somewhere, either up top here or somewhere in here. I think my 1/1000th Reliant, I put it on there. But yeah, and I don't know what else we got for lights, but we shouldn't be too bad. So I'm going to take my Dremel. I'm going to very carefully trench down to here on either side. I'm going to be using, let's see, let's grab one here. Got one just sitting here. 28 gauge wire for these lights. I'm going to hook together, I think I'll have one or two, depends on what's going on, but probably one LED for, let's say there's two lights that point down. So one LED for that, fiber optic those. We will run another one for the blinky flashy and just fiber optic into here. And then we will have the two red bulbs, possibly, maybe even one, or two, and they will be running with the lights that go to the bottom. So all those will be connected, running out one side. The blinky will go out the other side. That is the plan. And I'm gonna get right to work. Be right back. All right, I am working on some of these parts and seeing how they fit together. Just test fitting. These actually do fit pretty well in here. I'll show that off in a minute. But you see, these fit into here. There's little slots or tabs, and there's a groove. But this might be hard to show off. Get everything in place there. There's a tiny bit of a gap up top. You can see it right there. See that gap? That's not because the pins are misplaced. And there's a same thing at the bottom. Middle is fine, but the bottom and the top there's a gap. And I was kind of, what the heck is going on here? Well, mold pins. They're probably not even a 1/2 millimeter up, but they're on these two. See those things? And they're up just enough to cause a gap at the top and at the bottom. So we got to get rid of those. That's one thing. Another thing is these. I was looking at pictures. I got some decent pictures of these. This, I'm not going to say they're super incorrect because they got some details in here that are correct. It's just lacking detail. So we're going to have to do something about that. And these do fit in here pretty well. If I can get this whole thing together. The fit on these parts is, I wouldn't say bad. Finicky? I would say finicky. That's definitely a word to use, but not bad. See, once you get in there, it's in there. And if I can get, where's the little guy? There you are. I can get this thing pushed up in there. Yeah, it fits just fine. And it's the same up front. We got this thing here. It goes underneath. Get that in place. I don't think this is going to stay, though. No, it's not. Well, anyways. You can see if we can get this in here. Yeah, there. That fits pretty good. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the details. Do I just greeble it up? Or do I build replacements? And I'm kind of leaning, because 3D printing is a lot more detailed, kind of leaning on building replacements, because I did a project for a buddy of mine, John, and I already built, because I built him a photon emitter. So I already have it was the Enterprise photon, but I do already have one of these things built. I would just have to build this very carefully, because it does fit in there. It's a touch loose, so I've got a little bit of a wiggle room in there, like 0.5, not even 0.5, 0.2 millimeter, maybe 0.1. So I'm thinking about it. In the meantime, I'm thinking about those, because it got some things right. It got this triangle pretty close. There's little vents over here and here that they got right. Some of this detail here and here they got right, but there's detail all around the inside of this this shape here. And the only thing is, it's gotta fit like that. And there's a little overhang on this piece here. You can see there's a little shelf here, and that fits into here like this. And so I would have to account for about almost a millimeter, maybe a little bit more of space. Anyways, it's something to think about. In the meantime, again, I'm going to clean these parts up and get rid of those mold release. And there's some in the middle too. Might as well take those off. I'm just gonna sand these puppies out like that. And I'm gonna sand everything off now while I'm thinking about it. And I got the sandpaper, so I'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys, a little bit of notes. Little bit of notes? I have some notes. Let's say it like that. Anyways, I've cleaned up most of these parts. Pretty easy. Just, basically just sanded them off. They're not washed as in clean. You can see I got fluff all over my fat fingers. But you can see that I have sanded them down to help paint adhere to these surfaces. I haven't done anything else. I haven't cut any of my light holes. We'll talk about those. I haven't done my trenches yet. That is next. But before then, I wanted to go over a few things. So I have sanded out the inside of these. You can see some of the sand. Why would you do that? You're not going to paint these. You're right. I'm not. I am going to glue them, though. And I want a nice solid bond in here because there's going to be wires going through here. And I want these to stick together. So I even took the bad mamma jamma here, the big bad mamma jamma, and did some of this to make sure I got some nice trenches for that glue to go into to help these parts be nice and solid when they go together. You can see all those mold release. They're off here. The ones on the bottom are off. There was two at the top here. They are gone. And at the bottom here, they're gone. I just have the little pinholes and the little pins left. Yeah, itty bitty pin at the bottom. Or there should be. Is there a pin down there? There's not a pin down there. There wasn't a pin down there, right? I didn't get rid of it. No, there was no pin down there. Look. But there is a recess for a pin. That is interesting. Anyways, so there were some visible mold releases that I did not see earlier. There was one right here on the rear photon emitter. It was right there. And on the opposite side here, we had one on each underslung side of here. You would see these, even with this piece in place. Those definitely would have been visible. So they went and they got gone. Another thing here, we see the lightning bolt. See those chevrons, those little greeblies in there? These in the lightning bolt. Not these. These are there on the model in some capacity. But these, I don't know where these come from. I've looked at lots of shots of the model, and those, I don't know what they are. So I took them off, at least to this side. And they only exist here because I wanted to show you that they exist. Otherwise they'd be gone. Another thing, there are lights right here at the front of this, on either side. They're not flashies. They are on when the flashers are off. So they're not flashing lights. They're not strobe lights. They're just on lights. Most of the time. There's some shots that they're not on, which I'm only going to assume is like a lighting issue or a mechanical issue with the studio model. So we're going to have to drill out holes, and I'm going to have to figure that out later, because these mount into the rest of the gun, the rest of the cylinder, and then you've got the two cannon ports that go on the forward and aft. So we're going to have to figure that out. But I will drill little holes into these. Other lighting issues, things. Let's see here. So, where is it? This thing. On this thing. So, I've looked. This roll bar comes off the studio model. And I have really nice pictures of pre-Christie's auction, like right before the Christie's auction, of someone holding this thing. Barely able to get this in their hand. And you can't really tell where the lights are. But in shots, you can see lights. And they are at the front. See, this is the front. The big one's at the rear. The little is at the front. It gets larger as it goes back. They are at the front. And the shots I've seen make it almost appear that they're in these two recesses, which look like vents. They actually have lattices going back and forth on the studio model. I can't tell if the lights are in here or up here because you can't really see anything in the pictures.
But they're definitely proud of the ship. They're like little lighthouse LEDs that pop out. Well, probably not LEDs, probably grain of wheat bulbs that are popping out. Problem is, in the studio model, you can't really tell. I am not going to put them here. I'm going to put them up here. Because I don't know if they're really here, because it doesn't look like it, but at the same time, they might be. There's a shot where you can kind of see through this lattice work on this side, and it looks like there's a little cylinder thing up here, but it's not repeated over here. So I'm just going to call it right here on either side, right next to these details. And I'm actually surprised these details are on the model. I saw them on the studio model. I'm like, oh, I'll just have to replicate that with some styrene. And I'm like, nope, they're here, and they're pretty close. It actually surprises me how close some of the details are. This thing is pretty darn close to what the studio model's got going on, actually. These, not so much. Well, they are, but they are not as detailed. That's the only thing. That is the other thing, too. We are going to be rebuilding these, maybe, possibly, leaning towards it. They had mold release pins, very, very big ones on the back side. You can kind of see the remnants of that one. And I took them off because I want to get them flat on here, and I want to take a picture from directly above for both of these. And not because of measurements, but because of shape. I can get the measurements on this with my calipers. What I need is the shape, and I need the relative distance of the photon emitters from all around it, and this thing, and everything else. So, need to do that. I think that's it. So I'm going to get back to work. I'm going to start drilling out. Well, I'm going to wash these off because they got schmutz on them. I'm going to wash these off. I'm going to start drilling my light holes. There's one up top right here for the blinky flashy. Oh, this is interesting. This thing has the broom handle. You can see it right, or not the broom handle, the broom. You can see the broom right there. It's actually going opposite way it should go. The mounting part for the bristles should be up here, and the bristles should be down. I think, regardless, does not have the broom handles on the, or the brooms, what do I call handles? On the hull. I actually have parts. I created some brooms for these. And they're called that because they kind of look like brooms. It's hard to tell here, but they have a mounting point, and the mounting, that square mount on the top of a broom, and then the bristles come out of it. That's kind of what it looks like. That's why I call them brooms. But yeah, that's actually there, which is kind of cool. I'm going to make more. So we're going to start drilling holes out for our lights, and we're going to start drilling trenches and get all that done after I give these a bath. So I'll be back. We'll do some more work. See you in a second, guys. Alright, guys, we got all our holes drilled. And as you can see, got these drilled here. These two. They were pretty close to this bulkhead, but they're on the opposing side, and this piece goes in here like that, and so that won't be an issue. I did drill most of the holes in the wrong place for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, this hole back here. See, right there. And it is slightly off to the right by about 0.2 millimeters, a little bit less. I'm going to pretend that doesn't bug me and just go with that light there. And this is the strobe that goes with the it's the bridge and the nacelles, the ends of the nacelles. That's what this light flashes. That's the rate. So I'll have to remember to mark this. Actually, I'll have to remember to, because this is going to be a fiber. They're all going to be fiber optic. All of these. I just have to remember to really light block that one there. And I do have some fiber optic holders that I made that I'll have to use for this build. I got singles, and then I got the ones with multiples. I had some around here. I'll have to find some or print some. Yeah, that's what I'm going to use for this. And that is cool because it acts as a sheath for the LED, and then the fiber optic just comes out. So I'm going to mount it probably right here. Where is that LED? Where did you go? It went right here. Oh, actually, you went right here. Yeah, come here, come here, come here.
So I'm gonna mount that about right there, and then I'll do a 90-degree bend on that fiber optic, and then I'll go right in there. And then the one for these lights will again just be probably the same. I'll just mount a light source somewhere around about there, and then pull some fiber optics out, and that'll be that. These two on the wings, which again I drilled the hole in the wrong place, so I had to putty it, but they're correct now. These two on the wings are actually, because of their placement, that is the wrong side. I'm going to have to use some fiber optic that goes into the body. I was doing some tests. I think this is actually the starboard side, so we'll bring that up. So I was doing some tests on the pylon here, and I'm going to connect the pylon to the nacelle. We're going to do the nacelles next, and I'm going to lock that pylon in to the nacelle. And since we're going to be bringing wire up, we're going to have to cut a hole here. We're going to have to cut a hole here because this goes into the body. We got to make sure this piece right here is very much so lined up to everything around it. Not only does it have a little pin that goes in the body of the main hull, but we can take this off. This is very much so a linchpin, and everything has to go right with this piece right here. Let's see if I can kind of put it where it's supposed to go. There's no pins or anywhere to line it up really. That goes like that, and then this comes in like this. I don't know if I can show this up on camera just because of the shape of the this thing here, but this goes like, let's see if we can get it in. Come on, go there. There we go. That goes something like this when it all goes together, and then those cannons go on the ends. There is, if I put this together, a little bit of room in between here. There's a little chasm there. I think I'm going to actually hog out a little bit on this just to make sure, because I'm going to be sending one set of wire down here, because what I'm planning to do is, I haven't trenched these out, but I'm going to trench each side. I'll send the wires that I'll be connecting everything together in here that's single. That's pretty much always on, which are these two lights and probably the photon emitters. So all those will be together, and I'll just run out two wires, two of the 28 gauge, and these 28 gauge, I think they're, let's figure out what these are for size. Yeah, it's a little over half of a mil in size for the 28 gauge. So we'll be sending two out this way, and then, one set of wires out this way, and then the flasher up here will go out the other side. So regardless, I'm going to have wires coming out both of these sides when all is said and done with the roll bar. I did look at the Aztecs I have, and very coolly, the Aztecs, not only do they have Aztecs, but they actually have the painting details. So I don't have to go in and paint. There's some details that go up here, and there's some detail like along the side. It's a different color. All that detail is included in the decals. This still has to be painted that French blue, as well as these. I've seen people paint these gray. These are indeed French blue. I have pictures of the Christie's auction. At least the Saratogas were French blue. Well, actually, no. I have detailed photographs of the Reliant from Wrath of Khan, and these are definitely, they look darker on film just because of the lighting, but they are definitely that French blue. These are. This is. What else is the a bunch of other little things are. Oh, these. The little... a lot of people do these black. They're not black. They're blue. The little chevrons that go here. And along the backside. They're most definitely blue. The cannons. The phase cannons that come off of here are blue too. So, that's for later. This is for now. So I am going to trenched these out. I'm going to start actually, I think I'm going to paint. I think because I want to get some light blocking down and make sure it's kosher before I cement anything. So I think I'm going to get some black on here. I didn't see these decals, so I might have to paint these French blue. These are French blue too, these little things. I'll have to look again. But and not only does it have the decals for going around here, I think it did. Well, anyways, it has the decals for going around here, but it is the pinstriping. There's pinstriping that goes around the edge of this, and they're in the decals. So they're very good decals. And they are Saratoga decals. They have the Saratoga markings, except for they don't have the Saratoga pennants that go on, I believe it's the outer side of here. They don't have the pennants. The kit natively comes with the Reliant pennants, and it has everything else for the Saratoga except for those. And the pennants definitely do, they come with this kit, definitely do say Starship USS Reliant on them. So if you want Saratoga ones, you're going to have to print yourself out some. Anyways, I'll get back to work. I'll be back in a sec. All right, so no printers. They're all dead. All three of them. Brand new one. Dead. Gone. All three printers don't work. So I got a warning on the new printers that changed the FEP. That FEP is that clear transparency you see rolling around in there. That holds the resin in the vat, or is supposed to hold the resin in the vat. I filled that, changed that, and I filled the thing all the way up to the top with resin. I was doing a big print for a friend, and took off, went to my parents, had to help my dad. Came back home, and the print failed, and the resin had leaked. You can see, this is where it leaked onto here. Stripped the paint off, spilled down into here, and there was a big pool of resin right there. But this, I've cleaned off this whole thing several times, and the resin is still activating the paint. And I've cleaned this with alcohol many times. Inside here, there's some. It's same thing as this. It's all tacky and nasty, and God knows if it'll ever. Yeah, look at that. If it'll ever fix itself. So I cleaned up the mess. I changed the FEP again. Tried it again. Leaked. Changed the FEP again. I changed this 4 times. It kept leaking. The last time I changed it, I said, screw it. I'm going to really screw these in. And when I did, I cracked the ever-living snot out of the plastic thing here. Almost every one of these screws. There's a crack. 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 Needless to say, it still leaked. Unbeknownst to me, it leaked. The resin leaked into the machine and got into the touchscreen controls on the front, and they don't work anymore. So, yeah, I have no printers. So I won't be developing any more parts anytime soon. I was in the process of building really nice these things. I just done the initial shape, and I was going to print that out to see if they fit into our parts here, which are painted. You can see. Even got the little blue on the edges here. And on here, a little blue there. So I was in the process of printing out the test pieces to make sure they fit into here, and that's when that's when the printer died. So I'll have to be using the kit pieces. I'm not gonna make new pieces for these, and so I don't know. I just had to start cutting these out. Kind of very, very, very angry that you people couldn't engineer this damnable thing to not leak all over the machine. That's really awesome, guys. Thanks for that. Super cool. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to work and be very angry. Okay, so all of our lighting has been installed. It's kind of a mess, as always. I'm not the neatest, but it works. Oh, hopefully it works. So I've tested it. It works. We have a white bulb under this big old hunk of hot glue, and it's got 2 fiber optics connected, and they are kicking out the bottom here for our lights. I'm going to leave those till we have everything done, and I'll clip them. We have our ambient red bulb in here to provide a little kind of sinister red glow for our photon emitters, which are right here. And you can see I've got the nice lenses in there on both sides, of course. There we go. So we'll get some nice red. And I don't want it very bright. I just want it subtle. and I've resisted this pretty good. So it should be just a nice, subtle, barely noticeable glow. And that's what I'm going for. The top here, we have our blinker. That's, of course, on the separate wires here. 2 separate wires. It's just a white bulb and fiber optics. And these wires will come down this trench when I get everything together. This is going to be the balancing act. I pretty much have to assemble this all at once. What I think I'm going to do is put these in. These guys, I don't have to put the, I don't have to put this thing in until the end. This is the, that thing that goes on the front here. These guys got to go down pretty quick. And I got to make sure they're on the right side, which this is this side. I can just put a bunch of glue in here. That's not a big deal. So these guys all got to kind of go on at the same time. So I'm going to get to work on assembling everything, and I'll be back when everything is done, and we'll do a light test. So I'll be back in a second. All right, guys, you can see our roll bars together. And I did clip down some of the, or all of the fiber optics, just a little bit there. I'm going to leave them there until I'm done, because I don't want them accidentally being kicked back into there. So yeah, roll bar is done, or at least assembled. We got our wires coming out of our sides here. Got some seams to deal with. Yeah, it's a nice seam. That's a big seam right there we got to deal with. And same thing on the other side, right here. A little bit of a seam. This little cone here's got a seam. The edge is kind of a little seamy too. Not too bad. I think it's this side. Yeah, this side. I think I might squish some glue in there. You can see I can actually squish it down a little more. It's a little hard to tell, but yeah, I can squish that down. I might just shoot some glue in there and then clamp that, and maybe do the same on this side. That side seems okay. It's this side. I noticed that I can squish it down, so I'm just going to make sure there's adhesive up to the edge of here. I don't want it to pop off. But anyways, we are now down to it. We're now down to the filling and the sanding and all the work there. I'm going to hook up some electricity to this and test the lights real quick. I'm going to be right back with that. All right, first we have the top side here, our blinky flashy. You can see the fiber optic shining right there. So that's good to go. This will be connected to the bridge blinky and the blinker that's on the nacelles. So I think those are all the only ones that are strobe. I'll have to look again. I can't remember if the underside impulse crystal is strobe or if that's flashing with the rest of the lights. So that works. Alright, so now you can see our undersling lights. Right there. And then you can see red. It's really subtle. You can kind of see the bulb in there. It's really subtle, though. Let's see if I can get it to... Yeah. There we go. You can kind of see it. It's hard to see from this side, but in real life, I can see that there's a little bit of a red glow in there. And I wanted it to be really, really subtle. Well, right there. Where is it? Right about that's what it looks like in real life, kind of. Those are the other... You can actually see the other, the other side, the other photon launchers. But I'm trying to get it so it... Yeah, you can kind of see it. It is glowing. It's just hard to see. So, all right. Now I'm going to start sanding and filling seams. So I'll be back when that is done. Okay, guys, our putty work is done. Took about 4 rounds of putty, and it looks pretty good now. Got a little bit of sanding to do. Again, it looks a little wonky on the one of these sides. I forget which one. Maybe just a little bit. You can see a little bit of ledge there. A little sanding will take those out. And on the nose, you can actually see a line. If this will focus. You can see it unfocused too. There's a little bit of a line you can see. I need to sand that down a little bit. But our putty work is done. And it took 4 because, not because of these. I thought it was because these were pretty large gaps, but no, it wasn't because of these. It was because of these edges. These edges, every time I'd fill in paint, I'd come back and I'd
see another little nick or a little crack or a little divot. So it was these jerks here that took the whole time. But now they're done. And it just requires a little bit of sanding. And then we're done. But what I want to do right now is this blue line is not included in the decals. Now, my decals didn't come with an instruction manual. So what I need to do is figure out where they go. And I pretty much have done that. The roll bar is pretty easy. The decals for the roll bar are, well, they're shaped like the roll bar. You got four, one for each of these, each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're shaped like this. And they got the little lightning bolts in them. And the ones that go here are shaped like this. And there's ones that go on the bottom and they kind of overlap the edge. And that's what they're shaped like. You got one that's shaped like a torpedo that goes here. You got one that's kind of shaped like a torpedo with claw on it that goes here. Pretty easy. However, I did download a couple of screenshots that someone took of the decals. They're very, very low resolution. But they, but I can tell from the shapes, you can see the outline of the shapes fairly well. So I pretty much know where the rest of the Aztecs go. So I'm pretty good on those. I don't need to bug the company, I don't think. So what I want to do now is I got my millimeter tape here, my pinstripe tape, and I want to get that blue on the edge here, and it actually rolls to the underside of the edge. So looking at the box and some screenshots, I think in this scale, and the box has it pretty good because there's not only the blue line, there's that Reliant decal that goes behind it. You know, the NCC was it 18? What is it? 1864, and then Reliant goes right here, and they go right. And there's a pin strap. There's a nice little red pin strap that goes along here. That's actually included in the decals, which is really cool. The decal set is really good, but the blue line is not included, so we have to do that ourselves. So what I've got this set here at my calipers is about, let's see here, 4 millimeters, because I have to take into account, or it's set at 5 millimeters. It's 5 millimeters. So I want a 4 millimeter line here, taking into account the 1 millimeter tape. There we go. That's words. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my calipers and I'm going to mark off little dashes with my 2H here. Got the old 2H out. Just little dashes at certain points so that I have something to follow with my tape when I'm eyeballing it. So I don't have to go in blind, essentially. So I'm just going to mark little dashes here. Maybe a little dash. A little dash here. Like 4 dashes. One up here. And then same on the bottom. And we're going to take our tape. We're going to come in. We're going to tape that line off. After I'm done, I'll just be able to take an eraser and just erase a little bit of the H. The H isn't very... Do I get anything to write on? No, of course not. The H is not very... maybe the tape. Yeah, you can... See, it's a very light line. So I'll be able to erase that very easily. So that's what I'm doing. And then I think all I need to do is come back and give this thing a very subtle sanding with some, I think this is 800 grit. Yeah, this is triple lot. I don't know what this is. But I think it's 800 grit. I think that should be good enough. Some 800. I'll take some 800 to it. We'll wet sand it down, and then I'll throw a clear coat on it, and we will call this good. And I'm going to put a gloss coat. I'm not going to do the decals until I want to put this on, put the roll bar on. Actually, I'm not going to do the decals when I put the roll bar on. I'm not going to do the top decals, but we have to do the bottom decals. That's a must. Because we really can't get under it once it's on, or at least not very conveniently get under it once we're, once all is said and done. And also those little vents here are gray on the studio model, so I got to get in there, and then we're just gonna hand paint those real quick, mask them off, and throw a little paint on those. All right. Anyways, oh, wrong way.
I really want it to go this way. Look like a big engine intake. Just, but it goes this way. The big end's on the back. Anyways, looks more aerodynamic that way in space. All right, I'm going to get working on this edge and painting on this edge, and we'll be back when we are done with that. All right, guys, we have our tape done. It's all masked off on the bottom, on the top, and while I was doing this, of course, I smudged the white paint. That's fine. I'll just paint this off, let it dry, tape this off, and fix it. I actually saw a few more areas where I'm going to need to fix on the putty, and I looked at it in the right light, and I saw that there was a little dent in this side right here that I'll just fix after I do this. I want to get this settled, finished, finito, and then we'll go back to the white. So I'm going to get some blue paint on this, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, our roll bar is now done. I have the gloss coat on it. You can see it's nice and shiny. They get a little schmutz right in there. It's fairly noticeable. I think the Aztec is going to cover that. Did get the gray painted on there. Everything is ready to go here. So, this is where I'm going to call this, because I'm not going to put the decals on until everything goes together. I pretty much want to put them on last. I am going to have to put on the bottom ones, but we'll do that later. I don't want to risk ruining them. I got to find a safe place for this too. So next time, actually, we'll be doing the nacelles. We'll get those worked out, and then we'll move on to the body. So I want to thank everyone for watching. All my new subs, all my old subs, you're equally rad. And until next time, you guys take care.